Hey guys, Duff here, and I've put together an 18-hole guide for this Fixed Wind Frenzy tournament. Basically, you're going to see how I've played all 18 holes. You can play it the same way I do or play it a different way, but I promise you, if you follow exactly what I did, you're going to get real close to the hole or it's going to go in. Now, I've used a variety of balls, so not all the adjustments are going to work depending if you've used different balls, but if you follow this guide, I guarantee it is going to get you close. So let's start off with hole 1. We are looking at Wolf Creek, hole number 14, a very, very tricky par 4. Now, we do not have Bigfoot because the clubs are fixed in this tournament. So we've got Pegasus for our long iron, and we've got Rattler for our short iron. So you can see where I lined up there. So we're up on that upper tier of that right side of the fairway, about a third of the way in from the right, and we just hit our drive, no overpower, no nothing. Full backspin, and we just hit our drive. Now what this does is it sets us up for a max Rattler shot. So we're going to start off with full backspin except take off 2. So full backspin -2. Now look where that puts us aim-wise. So there's 0 side spin. We've got the end of the target there between the pin and the right edge. So there's your right to left. And now you can see here, I'm pretty much exactly 4 rings back from the pin. So you're going to set your target 4 rings back from the pin. You're going to have that aim, the end of the guide, pointed between the pin and the right edge. Now we're going to take off, or reapply rather, those 2 bars of backspin. So now we're back to full backspin. Here's the important part. You're going to take your wind and multiply it by 1.4. So in my case, the wind is 4.2. So I'm going to need to adjust 5.88 rings. And I'm not using a grid at all for this entire tournament. I'm just purely eyeballing my adjustments. Now, you want to make sure you're in the very, very middle of your screen when you're making adjustments, or as close to the middle as you can get. So have a look at this. I just eyeball there 5 rings, so what I do is I pinpoint my eyes right on a spot where the 5 rings are, and then I'm just moving my target to as close to that as I can get. I move the additional 0.88 rings. Now, you don't need to be perfect 0.88, like 0.9, 0.8, 0.85. You just want to be in the vicinity. The hole's pretty wide, so as long as you're in the vicinity, you're still going to be really close. Now all that's left to do is hit ultimate shot and collect your eagle. Look at that, center cup. Now keep in mind, this is hole 1 of the tournament, so if you've missed this shot, go back and play it again. There's lots of replays. We want to start off our tournament with an eagle. So play this a couple times, get the eagle, and then I'll see you for hole 2. Here we go with hole number 2, which is London number 13. Pretty fun, short par 4. We've got ourselves a tailwind, 8.5 with the Pro D. We don't need anything more than a Pro D here. So here is your aim point off the tee. So see that first light colored stripe in the grass? We're going to extend into overpower, get ourselves centered on that stripe, and then release and let it fall back. Now here's our spin. Full right spin -1 bar. And then for the top spin, we're going to add 3 bars of top spin. This is going to give this a real good chance of going in. Now, in terms of curl, so this is as much curl as you can add with this RB7, and we're going to let it go into overpower and then back it off so it's not in overpower. So that's the key to this shot. So you'll see it'll turn white. We want to lift it up just a little so it doesn't go into that overpower. So there you go. You can see that. We hit ultimate shot, and watch how close this comes. If you want to take off a little bit of that right spin, or even start your aim point that far to the left, another 6 inches, by all means, go for it, and maybe you can find the ace on the par 4. All right, so there's a guaranteed eagle on this hole. Hopefully you guys are -4 after 2, and let's go to hole 3. Here we go with hole 3, which is hole 16 at Whistler. Short-ish par 3. Now this one's a little bit tricky because we're stuck between clubs. We can't go Pegasus with a ball with bigger wind because we can't make the adjustment back. So we're right at the top edge of Rattler, and we can't use a ball with less power because then we can't land it on the green. So we're going with a Tour Pro Trophy ball here. So let's go back and just have a quick look at the spin that I applied. So it's full backspin -2, and then we're going to add 2 bars of right spin. So full back -2, 2 bars of right spin, and then here's our alignment to the hole. We're going to go right edge. Now you can see I'm just inside of the right edge here, but I actually go back in a second and I add one more tick to the right. So our lineup is right edge, and you'll see why after we make the shot. There's a big dive to the left right at the hole. Now for our adjustment, it's wind times 1.5. So you're going to multiply whatever your wind number is by 1.5. So in this case, I have a 4.3 wind. That gives me just under 6.5, 6.45. That's how many rings I need to adjust. So if you have a 4 wind, you're going to multiply that by 1.5. You're only going to need to adjust 6 rings. So again, no grids. I'm just eyeballing this, making sure my wind arrow is nice and straight, and I'm going to pull back in a straight line. So there's 5 rings, and then you're going to see I'm going to add another just under 1.5 rings. Now, make sure you go and reapply that backspin. So now you're back at full backspin. So full backspin, you've moved whatever your wind is by 1 times 1.5 rings. Now it's just a case of hitting ultimate shot and wait for that 1400 to pop up with the hole-in-one. And you can see that big dive to the left there. We would have missed that if we were aimed right at it. All right, hole 4 up next. Let's do it. Hole 4, we are looking at number 13 at Torrey Pines, a very long par 5, which means we are going to use a Tour Pro once again on this hole. Don't worry, we do some more lesser balls in later holes. So select a good ball here, and we are just going to pump this drive as far as we can. So we're going to go full top spin. I think I add a little bit of right spin here. And we are just going to hit this with as much of everything that we have. And that is going to set us up for a Pegasus on our approach to give it a good run at Albatross. So full overpower, full top spin. I added just a little bit of right spin. You probably don't need it. And we are going to have a look at what it leaves us on approach on Torrey Pines, number 13. For hopefully what is going to be an Albatross in your game as well. As I drop here. So we're a little bit back from max on Pegasus, but that's fine. As long as you've done everything that I did off the tee, you're going to be right around the same distance. So let's have a look actually. Side spin. So you can see just under 1 bar of side spin. And again, we're detecting a theme here. I'm taking off 2 bars of full backspin, so full backspin -2, and then there's your alignment. So look where I am, the guide just staying on the left side of the pin here. So guide, left side of the pin, and 1 full bar of left spin, and I am 2.5 rings back from max. So see that? 2.5 rings back from max. So we add that full backspin back on, and the adjustment on this one is easy, just 1 to 1. So if your wind is 4.1, you're going to move 4.1. 4.4, you're going to move 4.4. As long as we've done all that, 2,300 or 2,299. Always nice to drop an Albie. And there we are, hole 4, nice and simple, easy Albatross. Hole 5 up next. Here we are, hole 5. It's Jasper Park, hole 3 normally. Now with this tailwind, it is pretty much a gimme. We're going to go full top spin. We don't have any side spin available because we are going to use a basic ball. Now have a look at the line. You don't want to be too far left here because otherwise you're going to end up in the rough. So there's your line right about where you fully extend your overpower, right where it touches the edge of the fairway. Now we're going to add right curl. Try and get as close to ultimate shot as you can. I know it's tough with that white ball, but even if you miss by a bit, you're still going to give it a good poke and you will be in no adjust hive range. Now keep in mind, it is only a hive 7, so we don't have the full ball guide that the hive 8 has. We're up pretty much a straight tailwind here, so it doesn't really matter, but leave it a little short. You want to land on the green though. Don't land, see that first bounce? You don't want your landing spot to be on the fairway or the fringe. Make sure that landing spot is on the green. Again, we always use full topspin with the hive. So that nice slow needle, hit ultimate shot, collect your 999, and go to the next hole. Now, if you want a shot at this green, you can go DX and try and get some extra TB there. So I'll let you guys sort that one out on your own, but there's your easy eagle. On to 6. Here we are, hole 17 at Rand Park, hole 6 in the tournament you guys are playing today. Now, this is the first time we are going to do something completely unconventional. We're completely stuck between clubs on this hole. So through a little bit of trial and error, I have come up with a tried and true method for getting the 1400 on this hole. So normally we would go to lightning rod, but because of the fixed clubs, we have no other options. So 2.1 bars of left spin, just right around 1.5 bars of backspin, and you saw your landing spot is right in between. So right at max Pegasus line, right between the light and the dark stripe there on the left. No adjustment required at all. Hit ultimate shot, and in any win situation, this is going to land on the green and trickle in the hole for a 1400. Take your ace and let's go to hole 7. All right, hole 7. This one was a fun one to figure out as well. Now I've got 2 options on this one, a basic ball option and a Pro DX option. So this is hole 10 at Harbour Town. We've got a very, very favorable wind pointed at 11 o'clock, which means we have the opportunity to introduce a new type of shot here, which is the power slice. So what that means is we are going to apply full curl and intentionally miss this shot to the left. We are going basic ball to start. Here is your aim point with the basic ball. So we're going to see at the very fully extended into overpower right there. So there's your aim point at the rate between those 2 stripes. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Between the 4th and the 5th stripe. Place the target there. Let it fall back. And then watch what we do. Full left curl. And then we are going to miss this all the way to the left. So there's your power slice. Full left curl. We miss it all the way to the left. And watch this. We roll up here very, very nice to almost no adjust hive range. I'm going to help you with the adjustment on this hive though. So we're going to apply full topspin. Keep in mind this is the hive 7, not the 8. So we don't have the same ball guide that the 8 does. So full topspin, and then we're going to back off just below that first full bar. So you're taking off 1.5. So guide in the hole, back off 1.5, and then we are going to adjust there 1.5 rings. Pretty easy, right? Now it's just a case of hitting ultimate shot with the basic ball. If you miss ultimate shot, that will miss. Now, we also have, as promised, a DX option, which is way easier. So the DX aim point, we saw it there, is as far to the right as you can go without the target coming back. So right there, in the as fully extended and overpower as you can get, in the middle of the cart path, there's your aim point. So we're going to apply full top spin and then 5 bars of left spin. Full top, 5 bars of left, and we're doing the same thing. There it is, full power slice, and watch the route this takes. Lots of room with the rough there. You don't really have to worry about hitting the rough. We're almost on the green for a very, very easy no adjust hive with that nice slow needle and the forgiveness of a DX. Keep in mind, hive 7, right? So we don't need that ball guide all the way to the hole. I just left it a little bit short of the hole. Pretty easy 999. And we are off to hole 8. All right, hole 8 now. Good chance for albatross here. We are looking at hole 3 from the dunes. Medium length par 5. Now here's our aim spot off the tee. Now you have to be over here because you catch a little ridge in that tailwind, and that's going to add distance so that we get to Pegasus range versus Hellfire range for our approach shot. So full top spin, 3 bars of left spin, and then just grip it and rip it, let it fly. Hellfire isn't a horrible option here, but I would rather be in Pegasus range. So this is going to leave us, I believe the pin is pretty much right at max Pegasus range. So just like we've done before with other approach shots, we're going to go full backspin and then take off 2 bars. This is just to get our line and get a visual representation of where this ball is going to go. So we're going to add just under a bar of left spin. We're going to line up left edge of the hole. And now our adjustment is the wind times 1.1. So here's our distance back here. We are 1 ring back. The end of that first ring is at the back of the pin. This is important. So that's our distance back. And again, the adjustment is wind times 1.1. So on a 4 wind here, I adjusted 4.4 rings. I put that backspin back on. Now watch the result and how this skips by the hole on the right, checks up, and then comes in the back door for the albatross. Now, I hit this shot once and I thought, I don't really love the angle it's coming in. And I did it a second time and a third time. That exact same result, coming by the hole and then pulling the string and coming in the back. So there's your guide for hole 8, number 3 at Dunes. Good luck. Hope you get the Albie. Okay, here we are, hole 9. This one is a ton of fun. I'm going to pause it there. It's hole 13 at Sedgefield. Now, with this tailwind, it is going to be go time again. Once again, I've got a basic ball option and I've got a DX option. The DX, much easier. The basic ball leaves you a little bit of a tricky chip. Not very reliable, but I've got both. I'm going to show them to you. So here's the first one. Basic ball. You can see the end of the 5th ring just at the fringe there between the fairway and the rough. So 5 rings there and you're right at max. Top spin, everything but 1.5. So full top minus 1.5. And then we are doing the full on power slice. So full left curl, full miss, intentional to the left. And this is how this is going to roll out. Now, if you do full topspin here, it goes off the back of the green and it's gone out of bounds. And that is why this is a hole out for birdie and not for eagle, because that's what I did the shot before this. Now, this leaves you with a no adjust hive. The only issue is you have to hit ultimate shot with these hives. So there you go. No adjust in the hole. And there's one way to get an eagle on number 9. All right, we're going hole 9 with the DX this time. This is going to make this shot a little easier. Now we are going full left spin, all but 1 bar of top spin. Now again, we're going to find the spot as far right as you can go before the target starts to pull back, like the right edge of the boundary. And we're going left curl, but there. That much of the ball still in the circle. So not quite full left curl, but we're still going to miss it full left with the power slice. That is going to roll out real nice. And even give it a little look on the way by for the guaranteed eagle. And if you think this tournament's going to come down to tiebreaker points, that is a great opportunity to reach the green. There's your eagle on 9. Hole 10, number 4 at Whispering Pines. Did you see me almost sneezing at the end of hole 9 there? Anyway, tailwind. Are we detecting a theme? Everything's a tailwind. Has been the whole time, will be here on out. We're going DX here. Full top spin, full right spin, and here is your aiming point. So look at full extension of your overpower. You are right in the middle of that white stripe, of the light stripe. So that is your aiming point, and we are just going to blast this as hard as you can. Don't try and cheat it any further right of where you are. Otherwise, it catches a weird ridge and it ends up going in the trap. Just trust me, use that aiming point. So we get up here to no adjust hive. Keep in mind, hive 7. So we're going to do the same trick we were doing before. We're going to go full top spin on the hive, guide in the hole, and then we're going to back it off below that first full bar. Now, this chip gets a little squirrely here. You can see that mine goes in left edge. If you wanted to cheat this just a little bit right of center, that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. However, mine still went. And that is how you get an eagle on hole 10. Hole 11, Himalayas. This par 5 is one of the longest in the game. It is a very, very tough hole. We're going to go Tour Pro Trophy ball here, and you're just going to hit that drive as far as you can. I added 3 bars of left spin just to keep it down the middle. And this is still going to set up a full, almost full top spin Hellfire approach. This is a very, very tough hole. So 342, you should be somewhere in the 340 to 346, 347 range. We're going to go full top spin. Now with that huge curl, we're going to go 4 bars of left spin. And here is our aim point. I'm going to zoom in here. You can see that little X near the end of the target. We want to be just right of that little X where the grid line is. And we want to pull back enough top spin so that the end of the target is at the end of the green. So right where the green and the fringe are. Now our adjustment here is just the wind minus 0.2. So if you're at a 4 wind, you're going to go 3.8. A 4.4, you're going to go 4.2 rings. Now this comes in, picks up that right break to the green, and it's just a hair long. I gave this one a couple goes. I couldn't get it to drop. If you guys can get this one to drop for the Albatross, post it on Facebook, post it wherever. I want to see somebody drop this hole. Hole 12 is number 7 at Bay Hill. Now this one we're going with a Pro D1. I know not everybody has the better balls to use. So we're going to show you how to do one with a Pro D. So we're setting up exactly 2 rings back from the pin and all but 3 bars of backspin. So let's go back and have a look at exactly the setup. So you want to be just on the left side of the pin and all but 3 bars of backspin. So you can see I set up and then I move it just a little bit to the right, but there's your aim point right there, just the left side of the pin, all but 3. And then here's our math on the adjust. We're doing whatever the wind says and multiply it by 1.1. So in this case, I had an 8.4. I'm going to be around a 9.3 adjust. So punch it into your calculator, whatever your wind is, multiply it by 1.1, and it should roll up just nicely, catch a little bit of the right to left, break right around the green, and drop in for a 1400 here on hole 12. Beautiful speed. And that's it for hole 12. We'll see you on 13. And here we are, lucky hole 13, which happens to be hole 6 at Close House. Now, off the tee, do not touch a thing. You should already have the Pro D selected. And we're going to add just over 2 bars of backspin. That's to set us up for our next shot with the Rattler. So if you have a higher power ball and you're further down the fairway and you want to follow this guide with the Pro D, then just switch to the Pro D and then back your rings back so they follow the contour of the fairway there. So just over 2 bars of backspin, no overpower, nothing, and just go ahead and hit your shot. So right at the 290 mark we should be. Now a yard or 2 either way isn't going to make that much of a difference. Now here is our approach with the Rattler. All but 3 bars of backspin. That is going to allow us to get our line. And then we can see there 2.1 bars of right spin. So with that selected, we are going to line up. You can go right at the pin, or you can even go a little bit right of this if you wanted. When I make this, I come in the left side, so a little bit of right isn't the end of the world. So basically at the pin or right side of the pin, and then our adjustment is going to be wind multiplied by 1.5. So in my case, I have an 8 wind. I'm going to go exactly 12 rings. And remember, we're pulling back in as straight a line as we can in the middle of the screen. Don't worry about the elevation change dropping down into the sand there. Normally that will affect your shot, but we've got all that factored in. So make sure you reapply that backspin back on. So now we're at full backspin again. And here is your shot and what it looks like. It's going to land just a couple paces in on the green. Real nice rollout. And even if you miss, you're going to have high 90s TB on that hole. And that's how you play hole 13 in this fixed wind frenzy. I'll get it right eventually. All right, hole 14, which is number 7 at Banff. Now, this is a very long par 5, but I'm going to teach you a trick how to shorten it significantly. So if you don't know about this, you are about to have your mind blown, and this hole is about to get a whole lot shorter for you. So we're going to set up to catch this trampoline bounce on the downhill on the leading edge of this trap. So you want to set your target right now so that it goes as far as it can down the line. And then we're going to adjust back just to see where it goes from the light green to the dark green. That's where we're going to adjust. So full topspin, no overpower, just hit it nice and easy. And it's going to catch the downhill, pick up a ton of topspin, and just take off. Should be around the 4 1/4 range. So there we are, 425. That leaves us with a Pegasus approach. Now, if you've gone 423, 428 or something, all these adjustments are still going to work. They're going to be fine. So we've gone all but 2 bars of backspin, 1 bar of right spin. So all but 2 back, 1 bar of right, and we're setting up 1 ring back from the pin. Now, from here, the adjustment is easy. We're just going 1 to 1. So if your wind is 4.2, we are going 4.2. Now, if you happen to catch one off the tee and it went 430 yards off the tee, that means you're going to need to do a little bit of a less adjustment on this approach. Now, if you were back around the 420, 415 range, it means you're going to have to add a little bit. I would think for every 5 miles or 5 yards off you either have to add or subtract 0.1. So we've got our line, we've got our position. We're going to move exactly 4.2 rings, or as close to 4.2 as we can. Now, as always, make sure you go in, reapply that backspin, hit ultimate shot, and hopefully this will drop for an albatross. That speed is so nice. All right, hole 15 up next. Hole 15 now, which is Abu Dhabi, hole number 6 on that course. Now off the tee, we're going to apply full backspin with the RB, and then we're going to back up 5 rings. That is going to set us up for a nice approach. So we're going to be pretty much right at max Pegasus distance. Pegasus has a ton of backspin. So the closer you are to max, the more backspin you have available to you. Now we are going to take off 3 bars of backspin here and try and be at that 2.5 rings back from the pin. So whatever it takes for you to take off 3 bars of backspin and be 2.5 rings back. Now, if you have to take off a little bit more backspin to be at that right around 2.5 rings back from the pin, then go for it. Take off as many as it needs. If you have to take off 2, if you have to take off 5 rings, it's just important that we add 2 rings back when we make our adjustment. So I've taken off 3 rings of backspin, lined up center cup, and I've reapplied my 2. Now, our math for this hole is wind multiplied by 1.07. Now, if you don't feel like going to a calculator, basically, it's the wind take the wind and add 0.3 to it. So my adjustments were just under 4.4, but that's going to get you close enough. So I've reapplied 2 bars of backspin. I'm going to adjust just under 4.4, and this is going to come in with real nice speed, find the bottom of the cup for a 9.99, and that is how we play number 6 at Abu Dhabi, number 15 in this fixed wind frenzy. I got it right that time. Hole 16 up next. Hole 16, which is Princess Shores number 3, is up next. We are going back to a little bit of an unconventional setup here to go with the Pro D. So we are going to pull it back into Rattler distance, and we're going to go right at max Rattler in the middle of that dark stripe. So there is your aim point. Max Rattler, middle of the dark stripe. And here is our wind adjustments. Just inside of 3 rings of right spin and a full 3 rings of backspin. Now, our adjustment, wind multiplied by 1.5. So in my case, 8.3 wind times 1.5, just under 12.5. So we're going to pull back. We're not going to mess with the spin at all after this. We're going to hit ultimate shot, And this is going to roll up real nice for a 1400. If not, it's got to be high 890s. And that's hole 16 in the fixed wing frenzy. Here we are, hole 17. Hopefully you guys have already shot your personal bests with 2 holes to play. Now, I had one of my personal best rounds ever at Ram Park a couple weeks ago. I dropped 17 of the 18 holes, and this one, hole 16, was the one I miss. So hole 16 at Ram Park and I are not friends. We're going to tackle this one with a Pro D. So we're going to set up at max distance, full backspin, and then we're going to back it off 7 rings. So that is our starting point. Now we're just going to hit our drive like normal, no overpower. And as long as you guys are right around the same distance, which you should be, 273, a yard or 2 on either side isn't going to make a difference. This is going to work out just fine for our adjustments. So we're going to take off all but 3 bars of backspin this time because of that bigger tailwind. It's going to have a bigger push once it hits and bounces for the first time, what we call secondary wind effect. So 0 side spin, all but 3 bars of backspin, and we're going to get, I go a little bit closer here, we're going to get around 2.4 rings back from the pin. So right around there, and you can see the line is right edge. So follow that curve, right edge. And now we're going to apply the 3 bars of backspin back. And our adjustment is going to be the wind times 1.07. So in this case, I had an 8.4 wind. My adjust is going to be 9 rings. So wind multiplied by 1.07. That's going to give our adjustment. Make sure you've applied that backspin back on, and that is going to give you a real nice rollout. Catches a bit of that break at the hole and drops for the 999, and we head to 18. Well, we made it, hole 18, which is a guaranteed -2, as long as you can hit around ultimate shot. We're going to go ahead and use a Mojave here. Everyone's got Mojaves. 3 bars of left spin, full top spin, and there's your aim point right here. So see that dark stripe? Right kind of in the middle of that dark stripe, let the target fall back, and then we're just going to blast this as hard as we can. It's going to roll up there, just make it onto the green. And a nice, easy putt for the eagle. Now, if you want to experiment and use a basic ball that has the bigger wind, or use even a Pro DX if you have it, to try and go for the ace on the par 4, by all means, go ahead. But here's just a quick and easy way to get the guaranteed eagle and some tiebreaker points. And that's it. We made it, all 18. Man, that was fun.